Okay, so now it's time to talk about the Inheimer part of Barbenheimer because I did watch Oppenheimer the same day. So, just my non spoilery thoughts on the movie without going into really anything specific, which, granted, if you're going in, you know the big thing that happens in the movie, but there are still some other twists and reveals to talk about, and we'll get to those when we get to those. It's a fucking Nolan movie, which means it's going to. And I did see it in IMAX. I'm very glad I saw it in IMAX. It's very very loud. Like the score is very loud. The sound effects are very loud. There were times when I could actually feel my body shaking. And I mean that in a good way. I don't mean to be like, oh yeah, it was too much. I hated it. I was like, dude, I can feel this reverberating in my neck. This is kind of sick as hell. Like, I watched Mission Impossible in IMAX and I loved it. It didn't do that to me. I watched, like, Asteroid City in IMAX, which, it's Asteroid City. It's Wes Anderson. It's not going to have that effect. It's still great, though. But there are times when the dialogue is a little too quiet. It's a Nolan movie. I haven't seen Tenet. That is the number one thing I keep hearing about it is like, you need subtitles because you don't know what the fuck anybody is saying. The movie is not nearly that bad. There were a few moments here or there I was like, they're maybe a little too quiet. The cinematography and like okay, most of the costumes are just people wearing suits, but if you know me, I literally wore a suit to the movie. I wore a suit to both movies. I love that shit. I just love people looking dapper as fuck. Like a nice jacket, a nice hat, a pipe in one hand. So like I love the look of the movie. The actual like cinematography and shots I think are quite good without going into the Trinity test itself. The acting is quite good. I will be honest, it is a Nolan movie, which to me means that I don't usually get a strong connection to the individual characters in his movies. Interstellar to me is the big example. Maybe it is just Interstellar, because from what I remember when I saw The Prestige, which was years ago, I got very invested into that. The Dark Knight movies, I very much did. No, I will take that back. I will say that's mostly just a problem I have with Interstellar. I remember the actors that played the characters. I don't remember the characters. I feel like to me, Oppenheimer is going to be kind of something like that. Like, I can remember the faces of some of the other characters in the movie, some of the other scientists, some of the other, like, friends he had. I could not tell you their names. I could not tell you much about their characters except they were part of the Trinity Project or were, like, part of the Communist Party or had some association with the Communist Party. They were friends with him, and some of them were kind of pieces of shit later, others weren't. I can't really tell you anything else, and that's not a spoiler thing, it's just, they didn't do much for me. But the movie is not called Oppenheimer and His Friends, it is called Oppenheimer, and I feel like he is a consistently interesting character. There's a lot of parts early in the movie, so I don't think this is not spoilery at all to say, where as he's thinking about just science and physics, yeah, Oppie, yeah, science. But it's like whenever he's thinking about that shit, you'll just like get these cool little moments of like almost like the world as he sees it, or like he'll close his eyes and you'll get like atoms and synapses just kind of going off together and shit. It's not something that's constant through in the movie. From what I remember, it was a bit more in the first act, and then kind of when they're talking about some of the specific theory of the atom bomb. But whenever they do it, I just loved the way it looked. I was talking about the sound, but I thought the score in the movie was quite good. There's a few times that you do hear it in the trailer where you just hear like this aggressive like clapping or stomping of feet just getting louder and louder and louder and louder. And I think the trailer ends with Oppenheimer just staring forward, like he's in his nice suit. There's like a nice, like it's like a beautiful day behind him, and he's just staring in the camera as he got the score, which I think was actually how the movie ended. If I remember correctly, there might have been like another couple seconds or like shots after. And again, that's not like super weird enough to say the final shot of the movie is not spoilery, but in context, it's just the bomb went off and he's not super happy about it. Again, like it's a biopic. You kind of probably know that already. It's just some of the details that are maybe a bit spoilery. there anything else I really want to say before going into some of the more spoilery shit? Oh, I would say the only thing is, excuse me, the way the movie is divided. I would say the first act of the movie is, this is Oppenheimer's life as an adult, studying physics, going from place to place in Europe, hopping around, going to Berkeley, establishing like his class in Berkeley, meeting other scientists, and also his interactions with the Communist Party of America. Act 2 is about the Manhattan Project. Act 3 is post-Manhattan Project. Also, the movie starts with the framing device. It's kind of two framing devices. There is a kind of behind closed doors hearing with Oppenheimer, and he's giving a statement that's going over his life. Also, there is a Senate committee regarding, an appointment to Eisenhower's cabinet. And I don't remember the first name, but his name is Strauss. Not Strauss, but Strauss, played by Robert Downey Jr. I might just call him Robert Downey Jr. a few times. Sorry if I do. But Strauss, he's going to be part of the cabinet, but he has to be affirmed first. It's a hearing for this. And he has asked several questions about, what is your relationship with Dr. Oppenheimer? It seems like you were not part of the Manhattan Project, but you did have some interactions with him, and there's all the issues with his security because he may or may not be a communist, blah, 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 blah. So those are the two framing devices of the movie. If you see anything in black and white in the trailers, that is just the Strauss thing. Like, if it's black and white, it's from Strauss's perspective. Literally everything else is in color. There are times when he and Oppenheimer are interacting, and if the scene is from Oppie's perspective, it's in color. If it's from Strauss's perspective, it's black and white. I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't a choice that really did a lot for me. I mean, I guess the idea is like maybe Strauss just sees the world in black and white. Like, he's more stuffy, I guess, whereas Oppenheimer is able to see the color in the world or some shit. I don't even really know. What I thought it was going to be was just kind of black and white is all of present day, and all of the flashbacks are told in color or vice versa, which I feel it would have been a little more... I can't say the movie's inconsistent with it, because it is consistent. You can tell if this is Strauss' perspective or Oppenheimer's or someone else's. It just was a choice to me that was like, this is... It's style, but I don't really feel the substance behind it. It's just like, okay, I guess this is a thing we're doing. Like, compared to like when Oppenheimer will like see the science world around him, or like their style and their substance here, I really like this. This was just okay, sure, Nolan, you do you, but I really like it when you do you, because as much as I don't like Interstellar, I love looking at Interstellar, because the movie gorgeous, and this movie's fucking gorgeous too. So, with all of that crap being said, let's talk about, I'll just say full spoilers. There's not really a lot of things to mildly spoil. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoilers are now live. Oppenheimer says the phrase, "I am become death, destroyer of worlds," twice in the movie. The second time he says it is after the Trinity test, or it's while the Trinity test happens. After he sees the explosion, he just kind of mutters it to himself. The first time he sees it, he is with his mistress. I believe it was like the first time they meet. So like you see them meeting, kind of talking a bit. Then it cuts to them having sex. And, she is fully topless. And kind of like I don't even know if they had finished. It almost seemed like they were still in the middle of having sex. And then she just got up, walks over to his bookshelf, and is like, "Oh, you got a lot of fucking books here." "Yeah, I do. I like to read." Picks one out. I can't, what is this? Like, what are you trying to... He's like, "Oh yeah, that's in Sanskrit. It's something I've been, trying to learn how to read." So she brings it over to him. He's like, "All right, well, tell me about it." And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is, when the god Vishnu, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I know where this is going now. And she's like, No. I want you to read it. So he reads it as, "I am become death, destroyer of worlds." And then they go back to having sex. I get why it's here. For it's like, all right, he needs to say the line in the context of the Trinity test, but he needs to have some familiarity with it before, so it makes sense for it to come back. The fact, though, that it's introduced in a sex scene, where again, just full boobs, like the entire scene, makes it hard to take seriously. Like I didn't hear anyone else get, like, it was a packed fucking theater, by the way. I don't know if other people were kind of laughing in other parts of the theater, but I was just kind of like, is this supposed to be intentionally goofy or is this unintentionally goofy? I'm not sure, but really? Okay, I guess this is what we're doing with this. Let me just go ahead and talk about the Trinity test. It's the reason I wanted to see the movie. It's the reason I wanted to see the movie in IMAX. I wanted to see, like, Nolan, do your thing. Make this look gorgeous. Make this sound incredible. Have at me. And he did. Once it happens, like, it is just, like, black. Just dark as fuck. And then it's just white. Like, you get that, like, big flash. And then you just see the fire, like this blackened sky, and then there's these reds and these yellows and these oranges, and the way they're just kind of melding together, and it's just so cool to look at, and it's quiet. You don't hear anything. You are just seeing this take place. And then you get, the big flaming mushroom cloud. Like I said, I don't remember if he says the line while seeing the fire or it's after the fire dissipates. But after the fire dissipates, it's still quiet. Then you hear the sound, and it just, like, you fucking feel it, man. Because I think that's really what I can say. Other movies that I've seen in IMAX this year, which is a pretty decent amount, I saw them, I heard them. This one, I felt it. It is just so loud. You're just shaking in your seat, like your fucking bones and skin. I mean, not quite the skin. And it's amazing. It really is. It's like, all right, this is what I wanted. It gave me exactly what I was expecting. Maybe even a little bit better. This was worth the price of admission. Not to say that the rest of the movie is like, this is boring, this is dog shit, but this made it worth it. It was like, it was all good shit. And here was the creme de la creme. Here was the crown jewel section. And it was everything I wanted it to be. The parts after that, where, like, Oppenheimer goes to kind of give a speech to, all the members of the Manhattan Project and their families who've been living in the town. What was it, like Los Santos or some shit? Somewhere in New Mexico. And you just hear, like, as they're waiting for him to come in, they're all stomping their feet, and you get the fucking sound, and it's just crescendoing. And I think that was one of the moments where I'm like, I can feel, like, my body is reacting to the sound. Holy shit, this is awesome. And he sits there, and it's so overpowering, but he's trying to talk. This is also after the bomb has been dropped. And he's kind of like, we did it, we got him. And everyone, like, stands up and starts clapping. He's like, my only regret is we weren't able to use it on the Germans. And then everyone gets up and starts clapping again. And as he's talking, you can feel how much he doesn't want to say what he's saying. Like, it's in his eyes, it's in his voice, it's in the fact that all of this sound is just deafening to the point where he can't take it anymore, but he's trying to save face. And while he's talking, he has a vision of that bright whiteness in the room and then everyone being gone. There's a point where, like, he sees someone and their flesh is melting. He takes a step, and then there's a decayed, charred body at his feet. Fuck, like, the parts in the movie, it's like, as much as I love the Trinity test, the shit after of him seeing this and hearing this, and you can feel finally the weight of the decision land on him. Because the vibe I kind of get throughout the movie is, I want to make this, A, to kind of prove the theory, to prove that it can be done, because he is a physicist, he is a theory guy. Number 2, because the Nazis can't have this. We need to make sure we get it before them. The theory's been proven, and the Nazis aren't a problem anymore. It seems to me like for him, he's like, the Japanese don't deserve this. Like, they're still a problem. Like, Pearl Harbor happened. They won't surrender unless we finish, like, we make a clear statement of our power. You know what? You know what? It's not my decision. My job is to make the weapon. It's not my decision to use it. It's not my decision how it's used. But then when it does get used, it's like, oh, this would not have happened without me. And there's a scene where he talks to Truman, who I didn't realize was played by Gary Oldman, but apparently he is played by Gary Oldman, and I love Gary Oldman. Where they talk for a little bit, and then he tells me, he's like, Mr. President, there is so much blood on my hands. To which Truman reaches into his pocket, pulls out a handkerchief, and kind of dangles it in front of him, kind of like, oh, little. He doesn't actually say this, like, he's actually, like, kind of has a straight face while he's doing it, but the vibe's kind of like, oh, this little up, you need to wipe his tears, like, here's you need to wipe your blood. And he says to him, he's like, do you think the people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki give a fuck about the person who invented the bomb? No. Their concern is on the person who dropped it. Me. I don't remember if he said anything after that, but I remember it was that, and it was kind of quiet for a moment, and then the other guy, who I think was like the Secretary of War or so, just kind of gets Oppenheimer out of the Oval Office. And as he's leaving the Oval Office, you just hear Truman telling him, don't let that crybaby into my office again. And apparently, because I was telling Clay about it, he looked it up, apparently that actually did happen. That, again, it's like, as much as I love the Trinity test, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. It's Oppenheimer dealing with his guilt, and then Truman telling him, for all intents and purposes, I'm the person that needs to be guilty. No one gives a fuck about you. They give a fuck about me. I have to carry the weight. So you, you little bitch, here's something for the blood on your hands, here's something for your tears. Go and don't bring me your problems. I actually really liked it. There's a scene where Oppenheimer's wife is being... So, the commission essentially is, one of his friends who feels a little betrayed by him because they're having disagreements about whether they should try to make a bomb out of hydrogen or not, is given Oppenheimer's file by this one asshole, like Lieutenant Colonel or whatever, who doesn't like Oppenheimer, and he's like, I don't trust you because communism bad, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out that Strauss was the guy that gave that dude the file to give it to the other guy so they could write an indictment on Oppenheimer, because Strauss felt very slighted by Oppenheimer several times. And while Oppenheimer thought it was like, look, like, it's just business, we have disagreements, but it's fine, Strauss took it very personally. He's like, I want to destroy this man. Which does lead to like one of the only parts in the movie that actually had the theater laughing, where Strauss, kind of realizing that he's not going to get the appointment to the cabinet, is having this conversation with his aide, and he's like, I made Oppenheimer into a martyr by making that thing happen. I essentially turned him into a victim. I gave him what he wanted, which is actually like a really interesting interpretation. I do like that. He's like, I gave him what he wanted. He should be thanking me. And the aide going, well, sir, he doesn't. And then, like, the theater actually kind of laughed at that. The scene when Oppenheimer, I don't know if I said this or not, but the scene where his wife is being interviewed by the commission and is just giving the other dude, like, as much lip as possible is very, very satisfying to watch. His relationship with his wife, to me, wasn't super interesting. It wasn't something that they really focused on a lot. I kind of kept forgetting she was in the movie. His relationship with his mistress, I think, was a bit more interesting. There is a part of the movie where she commits suicide. And it is one of the moments where, like, he's very overcome by guilt. And, like, there's this, if I remember correctly, kind of, I don't want to say the woods, because it was New Mexico. It was kind of like the middle of the desert. But there's a part where, like, his wife can't find him because he heard about what happened to Grace. I think her name was Grace. And he's just, like, distraught. And, you know, he kind of has that sense of, like, this was my fault with, like, the things I had said to her, the things I had done. Did I do the deed? No, but I was responsible, which I feel like is kind of good foreshadowing to what you were going to see of him later after the Trinity test and after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah, I really don't have much else to say about the movie. It's just, I feel it is very well made. Again, there are kind of these moments where I'm like, if the dialogue was a little clearer at times, I mean, it wasn't a huge problem. I feel like I should bring it up. If the side characters were more interesting, I would have liked it more, but I feel like they do their job. But if you're watching this movie, you're probably here for one of two reasons. One, because it's a Nolan movie, and Nolan movies are really fucking good. Generally speaking, I don't like Interstellar. Or you're here for the spectacle. And I feel like the spectacle is very much there, and it's very well done. But there's also a really interesting person at the center of it. And like I said, this isn't Oppenheimer and his friends, it's Oppenheimer. And when it does just focus on him, I feel like it is very interesting. And as much as I love the Trinity test, sorry, I just heard Jose in the background going, oh, but when it really just focuses on his guilt afterward, that to me is probably the most interesting part of the movie. So overall, I would highly recommend it. Kind of like the shit I said at the end of Barbie. I'm wearing the same salmon polo. Go see it if you have the chance. If you can do the double feature, please do. It's awesome. If you can see Oppenheimer in IMAX, please go do it. It is incredible. What a fucking experience. I can't say that it is my favorite movie that I've seen in theaters so far this year. For me, I would say that's probably either Puss in Boots 2 or John Wick 4. But I feel like it's probably been the best theatrical experience I've had. Because, well, I mean, I also saw Avatar 2 in theaters technically this year, and I don't really like the movie, but again, like the 3D IMAX just made it look so good. I would still say Oppenheimer's better in that regard, because I loved how much I felt what was happening when you just get the fucking... You hear that? You hear me not saying anything? You might actually like that. You might find him super annoying. And if so, fair. Understandable. But just like when you're seeing that big pillar of fire and you don't hear anything, to me, it just made it that much more memorable. And then when you hear the sound and you feel the sound, holy crap, man. If you can go experience that, you owe it to yourself to do so. If you have interest in seeing this movie, please go see it. If you don't have interest in seeing this movie, I understand. I would still recommend giving it a shot, because I do feel like the Trinity test moment is worth the price of admission alone, and there's other good shit in there too. But if you have seen it, I sincerely hope you have. And like I said at the end of Barbie, it's the start of the week. I hope you have a really good week.